Dr. Borongan, please take the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ramesh. Ms. Yuko Yoshida, Deputy Director, Climate Change Adaptation Office, Global Environment Bureau, Ministry of the Environment of Japan. Our distinguished resource persons for this webinar, participants, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant good afternoon, good day to all, and welcome to the webinar. On behalf of the Asian Institute of Technology, the Regional Resource Center for Asia and Pacific, or in short, EIT RRCAP, I would like to thank the Ministry of the Environment of Japan for the continued support in making this webinar on accessing and using data and information for adaptation planning, for the support even in the development of these efficient tools, and the need for these tools to be used for the community working on climate adaptation in the Asia-Pacific region. With the support of the Ministry of Environment Japan, our center has been successful in the region in providing climate adaptation services such as knowledge sharing, capacity building, policy advocacy, and research. And lately, we have been building capacity also for using the SA Climate Downscaler, and now we have this opportunity later on to introduce you to the FLOOD-S or flood simulation developed by our colleagues from Hitachi. Further, I would like to thank the Hitachi Limited and Center for Climate Change Adaptation, the National Institute for Environmental Studies, Japan, for their time and support for this webinar. We know that climate change and variability are already being experienced everywhere, resulting in severe weather and devastating floods. As a result, we see economic and social infrastructures that have suffered frequent damage, destruction, even exacerbating poverty, particularly in vulnerable areas. This is even more real and life-threatening to sectors that depend on water itself or are affected by water insecurity, either from a flood or drought perspective. Many countries, especially in the Asia-Pacific region, rely on rainfall events and even river flows to forecast the extent and timing of flooding. Such methods are not robust and do not provide adequate information, especially when it comes to delineation of areas that can be affected by floods. Such inadequate information may lead to limited decision-making in the identification and even design and development of adaptation measures for climate change and variations related to floods. In this regards, these tools that will be demonstrated in this webinar later on will help countries improve their existing capacity in understanding the potential impacts of climate change on flooding and flood risk management, and even so in climate forecasting, and boost the resilience of vulnerable communities. Similarly, align adaptation to the impact of climate change across sectors and a wider government policy. I therefore wish to encourage the participants present here in this virtual space to learn and empower yourselves with the necessity of understanding, accessing, and using this data and information for adaptation planning. I would like to also first thank my colleagues, Dr. Ramesh and the RRCAP Climate Change team for the preparation and arrangement for this webinar. I wish you all an interactive and fruitful webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Borongan. May I now kindly invite Ms. Yuko Yoshida to deliver the opening remarks. Ms. Yoshida is the Deputy Director of Climate Change Adaptation Office, Ministry of Environment, Japan. She focuses on strengthening international collaborations with multiple stakeholders to facilitate adaptation actions in the Asia-Pacific region. Yoshida-san, please, may I invite you to take the stage.
Thank you, Ramesh. So distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to deliver the opening remarks on this webinar on accessing and using data and information for adaptation planning on behalf of Ministry of the Environment, Japan, and Regional Resource Center for Asia and the Pacific of the Asian Institute of Technology. This webinar is conducted with respect to the tool developed by MOEJ over the last couple of years. We all know that the world is facing a climate crisis and is felt all over the world. Some of these climate change consequences threaten and severely incapacitate human beings, such as floods, droughts, increased temperature, and other extreme weather events. Climate change has adverse impacts on various aspects of that life. Therefore, the evolution and implementation of various solutions and actions as a part of climate adaptation are urgently needed at a global level, particularly in the third world countries and are vulnerable and have limited capacity to adapt such impacts of climate change. To bring it to context, over the past 20 years, disasters have affected 4.4 billion people, caused USD $2 trillion in damages that have killed 1.3 million people. To evolve and better adapt to these climate catastrophes, GIS and remote sensing has been in the forefront of using in climate change adaptation planning. Downscaling of clear climatic data and running of simulations have been prioritized to combat climate change for forecasting and disaster prevention. Thus, identification of climate impacts and forecasting and simulation of these tools can lead to preventive measures that can save considerable losses and damages in advance. These tools for adaptation action plan have resulted in providing decision makers an avenue of effective risk management. Due to the effectiveness of clear climate data information, decision-making process will be more efficient in terms of planning, long-term sustainable development, and broaden future opportunities. At the same time, they will help to avoid maladaptive situations that involve making decisions in one sector that might damage other systems, sectors, or social groups, or increase the vulnerability of people and communities. With the availability and requirement of such data and information for adaptation planning, the MOEJ has supported the development of efficient adaptation tools that will provide an effective approach of addressing this need. These tools enable especially developing countries to generate their climate-related change scenarios and predictions for use in impact studies. The countries in the region can generate their climate predictions and impact scenarios. These tools can be easily and freely available by developing countries, even where capacity and resources are limited. These tools what we would like to introduce today are ClimeCast is an innovative tool that can provide all necessary climate models downscaled in a subnational level that is useful in national, regional, and local adaptation and mitigation planning. The second tool is a user-friendly tool that can support government personnel to visualize higher resolution climate data and information from a realistic yet coarse spatial resolution. That is very essential for large-scale data planning. The third tool is FLOODS, an online tool that can provide quantitative data in terms of flood depths and area in different scenarios, which help government bodies planning effective strategies for mitigating adverse impact of flood impact. Once again, I would like to welcome you to this webinar and trust you have a pleasant session learning and internalizing these tools that bring forth a brighter climate resilient tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoshida-san, for a wonderful opening remark. May I now start the presentations? Could I start with Flood S and I invite now Dr. Satoshi Yamaguchi to take the stage. The topic of discussion will be on Introduction to Flood S, which is a flood forecasting tool. To tell you a little bit about Dr. Yamaguchi, Dr. Satoshi Yamaguchi is the leader of the development team of GeoVista Flood, a flood disaster simulation software that can perform high-speed simulations with an easy-to-use user interface. GeoVista Flood is widely used in Japan today by especially construction consultants and insurance risk consultants. He is the chief researcher at Hitachi Limited from 2016 to now, where Hitachi's social innovation is powering good. He was an engineer at Hitachi Power Solution Company Limited, 2012 to 2015. Prior to that, he was a researcher at Hitachi Limited, 2003 to 2012. Yamaguchi-san, can I please invite you to take the stage now? Thank you very much.
Thank you for introducing me, Ramesh. I will start my presentation. I will share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. Thank you. So I will start my presentation. I will talk about the floods, online flood simulation tool developed by us, sponsored by MOEJ. Project overview. As you know, adapting to climate change is urgent issue. Implementing adequate flood disaster response and support for disaster prevention is needed. So what government needs is tools for flood hazard mapping and decision making. Our goal is to develop flood simulation system with excellent usability and visibility. Intended users, government officials involving in adaptation planning, disaster prevention planning, river management, urban planning, etc. So use case, this is a use case of our floods. When you plan a flood mitigation, you need flood simulation. This is case one. Without detention pond, there's rivers and this area is flooded. But if you build a levee here and create a detention pond here, SP is not flooded and the detention pond stores water. So if you need to plan a detention pond, you need a simulation first. Floods helps mitigation planning by evaluating effect of flood flow control measures, for example, detention pond. And because floods can simulate floods that have not occurred in the past, it's helpful for designing a basic plan. This is a screenshot of floods. You can access our system by this URL or this QR code. Floods is for non-experts and experts. Floods can simulate water depth and flows. Floods can evaluate countermeasures such as embankment. Floods can share simulation results with stakeholders. And in the floods, topographic data is preloaded, so you do not need prepare the topographic data. Flood has two functions. One function is viewer, and the second function is simulation. Viewer, you can access viewer without login, so anyone can access here. For simulation, you need login to the system, so you need a registration as a user. Please contact the AIT to get the user account. I will show you the system plots. If you access the plots, you can see this kind of web page. So now I will get started, and then you can see this kind of map. In the map, there is a blue pins, 8 pins. This pin indicates that there is a detailed topography data. You can simulate very detailed simulation. And anywhere in the world, you can simulate without rough topography data. With rough topography data, the resolution is 100 meters. And the blue pin area, you can simulate 5-meter resolution simulation. So now I will show you some example of flood simulation results. You can see the flood simulation results. Color indicates the water depth. Blue is about 10 centimeter, and red is about 5 meter. So here, about 3 meter depth occurred. And you can access the time series of this point. You can click on the map, and you can see the time series of depth. Horizontal axis is time, and vertical axis is depth. And you can animate the flood simulation results by pushing the replay button. So water is now spreading into the city from the water from the rivers. And in this simulation, we conduct this simulation with 5-meter resolution. So each pixel size is 5 meter. So you can see very detailed simulation results. So this is the viewer, but you can simulate with the simulation function. Now I will start my new simulation. You can start, let's say, but if this river overflowed here, so I input the overflow section and the overflow volume. Water flow volume is about 100 cubic meter per sec. Now this river overflowed here, so I will start my new simulation. I will select the resolution, okay, 25-meter resolution, and then click Start button. Now my simulation conditions are sent to a simulation server, and simulation server now preparing my simulation. And this icon shows that my task is queued in the server. And now the icon changed. My simulation is running on my server. And gradually you can get the results. This animation indicates the simulation, and color indicates the water depth. Now water is spreading into the city because water volume here is inputted. So
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Sorry, Yamaguchi-san. We cannot see the simulation.
What? I'm so sorry. What? Oh, I see. So sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you see now?
Yes, now it's fine.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
sorry. So before start my simulation, I will show some details. You can see the maps, world map, and you can see blue pins. Like here, you can there's 8 pins. This indicates detailed topography data, and we are going to this area. In this area, we have very detailed topography, so you can simulate very detailed simulation. And sorry. So the simulation resolution is 5 meters. So each pixel size is 5 meters. So simulation result is very fine. You can click on the map and you can see the time series of the water depth. You can animate the flood flow on the map. So from a river, water spreading into the city like this. You can simulate your own simulation by using the simulation functions. Now you can conduct new simulation. Let's say I will start new simulation. By clicking the overflowing point, overflowing volume, and select the mesh size. I select 25 meters, then click start. Then you can get the simulation results. The simulation is conducted in the server, so you do not need to prepare the simulation computing power. We prepared in the cloud. You will get the simulation results, and the simulation results will be shown in this map as an animation. You can conduct new conditions. Let's say I will create a new embankment here along this street. Okay. Let's say I will create a new embankment here. Embankment height is 5 meters. Now I will create the embankment. I want to start new simulation. Then new conditions are sent to the server. And now new conditions are calculated in the server, and the result will be shown. Of course, this kind of embankment is not realistic, but I will show the effect of the embankment. If you create this kind of structure, water flow in the city are drastically changed. Water do not going to this direction, but water going to this direction. So by using this function, you can evaluate which area is effective to protect, which embankment is effective to protect a city. Or you can understand the mechanism of flood in this city, which area is prone to flood, which area is safer from flood. You can easily understand by using this simulation. And you can download the simulation results. You can share the simulation results. So if you get very informative results, you can share this result with stakeholders. So I will return to my presentation. This is a viewer. User can view simulation results in similar cities. Select a simulation case, show flood depth animation on map, show max flood depth, show flood depth time series chart at the clicked point. And you can simulate flood, edit simulation conditions such as flood flow, depth, embankment, tunnel, and share results with stakeholders. and you can get insight from floods. Floods area, flooded area, extent of water spread, and flood depth closely related to human safety and property damage. Change in depth over time, timing of evacuation and recovery. This is a case study in Japan. This is a resolution with 100 meter resolution, and this is 5 meter resolution. The result is similar, but the pixel size is completely different. This pixel size is 100 meter. This is 5 meter. And the blue indicates the actual flood area. So if you use a 5 meter resolution data, if you input the correct condition, it produces a very detailed, realistic flood simulation, flood area, flood depth. It corresponds well with the actual flood area. And 100 meter resolution is not so bad, very corresponding with the flooded area, actual flooded area. And you can assess the measurements, countermeasures by using these floods. If you make a sandbank like this is a tunnel here. Water is going to this tunnel, but if you build up a sandbank here, water stops by this sandbank. So if you build up a sandbank here, water do not come to this area. Very drastically change. And there is a channel, and if you build up a sandbank in this channel, water do not going to this area, blue area. So without sandbank and with sandbank, if you build up a sandbank here, there's no flooded area. So you can compare countermeasure with and without countermeasure by using this simulation system. And the training data are prepared by us, and the grouping area is in the grouping area you can use 5 meter resolution data. That data are provided by AW3D. This is a product of Restec and NTT Data, a company in Japan. And this is a list of the 8 cities. You can use the high quality data in these cities. And of course, other area, you can use the 100 meter resolution DEM. This DEM is provided by University of Tokyo as a product merit to them. This is globally available. And we use a simulation system behind the floods. The simulation engine, our commercial product named GeoVista Floods. This one. GeoVista is used for flood hazard mapping by local government, flood risk assessment by insurance companies, business continuity planning by private enterprise. So I will show some details about GeoVista. This is a screenshot. This is the GeoVista working screenshot. You can see the detailed topography at 3-dimensional view. If you exaggerate the topography, you can easily understand the topography in this city. There's a river and there's a flooded area. You can see the arrows that indicate the flood direction. And there's a river here. And this is a cross section of river. This is longitudinal view of river. This is upstream. This is downstream. And you can animate flood simulation. So as time goes, the flood area flood occurs. From this point, water is spreading into this area. Flood direction is very detailed, complicated, because there is two rivers, one river, two river, three rivers. So this area is flow is stable because this is river from this area. From this river, water is spreading into the city and return to this river here. So using this GeoVista, you can do a detailed flood simulation. So please check floods roughly, and if you need a more engineering design, you should consider using this kind of commercial product. Function of floods, simulate floods based on given levee bridge point. This is a system of floods. In the cloud server, there is a flood. User can send the conditions and you can get the simulation result. You can see the result on the map. You can conduct the inundation analysis. And this is the function of the GeoVista, simulate flood, with considering not only terrain, but also many conditions, river cross-sections, river rainfall, time series, reservoir detention pond, soil moisture, etc., etc. You can input so many conditions, and in your PC, the simulation is conducted. You can usually get the simulation results with many detailed engineering data. You can also we can also provide a flood forecasting system by using the GeoVista. We input the GeoVista on a percussion server and monitor the flood flow, monitor river, and monitor rainfall. We input that kind of data and get flood forecast automatically. So this is my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Yamaguchi, for that fantastic presentation on flooders. Now, may I invite Dr. Masatomi Yuji to deliver a presentation on ClimaCast. The topic of discussion will be on introducing ClimaCast, which is an online tool for climate forecasting. Dr. Masatomi Yuji is the section head at the Center for Climate Change Adaptation, which is also known as CCCA, at the National Institute for Environmental Studies, which is also known as NICE. He has engaged in research on impact and adaptation assessment of climate change on agriculture for 15 years. He is responsible for the overall development of the AP-PLAT website and for the development of scientific tools such as Future Climate Protection Data Viewer and Downloader ClimaCast. He obtained his PhD in Global Environmental Studies from Kyoto University in 2007 and Master of Science in Physics from Nagoya University in 2001. Prior to joining CCCA in April in 2020, he had been an associate professor at Ibaraki University. Masatomi-san, please may I invite you to take the stage now.
Thank you, Ramesh-san. Great introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Yuji Masatomi from Fiji. Actually, I'm now joining to this workshop from Fiji. Of course, I'm Japanese, but now I'm staying in Fiji for capacity development workshop. And yeah, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to give this opportunity to give me this opportunity to talk about ClimaCast in AP-PLAT. I'm so glad to have this kind of presentation to all the people who are interested in the climate change and adaptation. And yes, today I would like to give you some introduction about the ClimateCast, which is a CMIP6 data viewer and downloader. And also, before going to the introduction of ClimateCast, I would like to briefly explain the AP plot. And AP plot is a website, integrated website providing a wide range of information and data and tool on climate change impact and adaptation. And it focuses on the Asia Pacific region, but also some data and some information cover global. And yes, it was launched in 2019 June on the G20 ministerial meeting. And our goal of APPAT goal is to promote climate change adaptation in Asia Pacific region by providing scientific information and data, and also providing scientific tool like which I will explain later, including like ClimateCast, and also we also give the capacity development too. And yes, as I said, EPIPAT provide a wide range of information, including scientific information and data. So you can see that bottom left, this is taken from the IPCC L6 report. This is a scientific information, scientific result, and also you can see that the center of the bottom, and this is impact view, which is called the impact view. And the impact viewer provide web-based information on the climate change impact, including agricultural impact, health impact, sea level rise, and water resources, and so on. So from this impact viewer, you can get information on the future climate change impact in your region, in your country also. And yes, and this kind of information are so useful for your study and also your work for policymakers. And also, as I said, EPIPAT has a capacity development role, and then we are providing e-learning contents such as by YouTube video and several documents. So you can learn a lot of things on climate change and adaptation from this kind of e-learning courses in EPIPAT. So I cannot explain all of the function of the EPIPAT, so I hope that you just visit EPIPAT. And I would like to move on to the explanation of ClimateCast. And then, yes, ClimateCast is a CMIP6 climate projection tool and data downloader. And the important keyword is CMIP6. CMIP6 is the latest future climate projection data set. For example, the latest IPCC report, L6 report, is based on the CMIP6 data set. And then the main concept of ClimateCast is climate projections for all people, including policymaker, public people, private sector company, and also student, graduate student, undergraduate student, high school student, and elementary school student. So we hope to deliver the latest climate change projection data to everyone. That is the main concept of ClimateCast. And also sub-concept of ClimateCast is quick and easy access. That is very important concept of ClimateCast, because everyone can quickly access future climate projection and easily access the future climate projection. That is quite important for people. Of course, climate expertise can easily access to the future climate projection data from the meteorological agency, but public people or policymakers cannot do that. But ClimateCast provide such a future climate projection very easily. And so by using ClimateCast from the ClimateCast, you can you can get the climate projections the fastest and easiest. That is the most important concept of ClimateCast. So that's why I developed ClimateCast. I hope to deliver this kind of CMIP6 data to everyone. And so, for example, ClimateCast can answer to the following question. So, for example, how many degrees will temperature increase in my country, or in your country, or in my province, or prefecture, or in your country, or your town? I think most people related to climate change want to understand, want to know want to get the information related to this question. Okay, how many degrees will temperature increase in my country, province, and town? And also how to get such information, how to get that data. I think yes, as I said, yeah, most people want to know, want to understand this kind of information and data. And exactly, ClimateCast provide this data and this information. And as I said, importantly, by only 2 steps, okay? By only 2 steps, you can get the latest future climate projection, and then you can get the information on the temperature increase in your country, in your province, and in your town. Okay, so I would like to show the actual tool of ClimateCast from now. And then I'm now connecting ClimateCast. And now you can see that, I think you can see that global map. And then this is the front page of ClimateCast. Okay, and then now you can see the global map. And as I said, by only 2 steps, you can get the data, latest future climate projection data. Okay, and in the first step, you just set your country or your province and your town. Okay, in the first example, I just select. Yeah, here is, you can see that area setting zone, and at level 0. Level 0 means the country level. And then click, and then now you can see that the list of the country. And in this example, I select, for example, maybe Thailand. Okay, Thailand. And then a little bit difficult to see that now Thailand is only colored in red. Okay, this is one step, step 1. And you can see that green bottom. And in the second step, just click CSV download. That's all. And then, so we click this one, not there. Again, we'll try again. Oh, I changed the directory, just, and click. Okay, now you are seeing that the data I just downloaded. Okay, and then this is the Excel format, and then now you can see that 1.22254,324, and now you can see that this 2051 to 2060, it means the period of the temperature increase. So by only 2 steps, now you can get the data, future climate change, future temperature increase. Okay, in this case, Thailand, I selected Thailand, And then now you get the information about the temperature increase by 1.222 degree from the end of last century. Okay, so Thailand will have a temperature increase by 1.222 in 2051 to 2060 compared to the last century. Okay, very easy by only 2 steps. Okay, again, I think if you want to know the more specific province, you just go to the level 1. Level 1 is more provincial level. Okay, and then if you are from for example, Konkan province, and then you just select, and then now Konkan province is only colored in red. And again, you just select the selected country and province, and again download. Just click the download button. And again, show this Excel show that the temperature increase in Konkan by the 1.16322 or something in 2051 to 2060. Just two steps. Just select the province, just select it, just clicking, and then download it, and then you can get very easily. And in this Excel format, you get low data, electrical low data. Okay. So, and also, some people want to know now I just selected the in 2051 to 2060, but of course you can change. And then now you can see that left panel, and then left panel shows the scenario, which show the greenhouse gas emission scenario, and also climate model and variable. And then variable include the temperature, maximum temperature, minimum temperature, and precipitation. So if you're interested in the precipitation, you just select precipitation. Yes, just wait. And then I didn't say that, but this color indicate the precipitation increase or decrease in this case. And or in this case, the blue color showed that the precipitation increase in the 2051 to 2060 in Konkan. And also, yes, by clicking the data, and you can get in the precipitation data. I just tried one more. Yes, this table shows that precipitation change in Konkan in 2051 to 2060, and then this figure shows the 142 millimeter increase in precipitation in the future. Okay, very easy. Very easily you can get the latest future climate projection data from Climacast. Okay, and also I would like to show more. That is a very basic usage of Climacast. And then of course the people want to know basically want to know the temperature increase in your country, in your town, and also precipitation change in your country or province. But I think I would like to some more difficult, not difficult, but more complicated example. And for example, I think policymakers are interested in this kind of a question. What is the difference in temperature increase between low emission scenario and high emission scenario? I think yeah, this is important for the policymaker to who are related to the mitigation study or mitigation processes. And then yes, and then Climecast can easily answer to this question: what is the difference in temperature increase between SSP 1 to 6 low emission scenario and high emission scenario? And then in other words, I think this is the quantifying the mitigation effect. And I would like to show the answer to this question. And this kind of comparison of emission scenario, I think the chart model is suitable. So I didn't say that Climecast has a map mode and also time series mode or chart mode. And now you can see that geographical map mode. And the other one is a chart mode, like this. So you can select the chart and map mode, most left panel, in the most left panel. And then now I selected the chart mode. And now you can see that here is the temperature increase in Konkan. Now I selected Konkan still. And then this figure shows the temperature change from the last century to the end of this century. And now you can see that graph, and then each line show the temperature increase of each emission scenario. And then now we have a full emission scenario, and red color indicate very high emission scenario, and then, for example, blue color indicate low emission scenario, like this. And then now you can see that the bottom panel, and then check and check out, and then you can if you want to remove the line and then check out, if you check out, and then you can remove the line like this. And also this panel show the each column show the each emission scenario, and also each row show the climate model. So if you're interested in, for example, MILOC, which is developed by the Japanese climate modelers, and check that like this. And also I show that I select that MILOC temperature increase in under a high emission scenario. So so the question was that what is the difference between the high emission scenario and low emission scenario? So that is the answer. Okay, so you can see that for example, 2019, this difference showed the difference between high emission scenario and the low emission scenario. But I think if we want to get the data, again, just by one click, okay, CSV download. Yes, this is the data, okay? So a little bit difficult to, I would try to change. Okay, so now these are data, all data on the temperature increase in Konkan, right? So, and each row show the scenario and climate data, and then each column show the period from the 1981 to 2091 to 2000 to 2100, like this. So these all values show the temperature increase in Konkan. Okay, so you can use this table to make the figure to analyze for analyzing data, and then of course you can understand the temperature increase in Konkan at the end of this century, but also near future 2021 to 2030, like this. So all these data include all the information for the temperature increase in Konkan. Okay, but as I said, the most important thing is that by 2 steps you can get this, like you can get this kind of data and information. Okay, I think time up, maybe. Yes, and also I cannot explain all of the usage of the climate gas, but for example, if we want to know the region with highest temperature increase in our country, yes, in other words, this is identifying the hotspot. Yes, climate gas can do that. And also, where is the region with highest drying and or wetting in your country or in your province? Yes, and in other words, identifying dry and wet spot. Yes, climate gas can answer to this question. And which months will precipitation decrease or increase? So, climate gas can identify the dry and the wet season, like this. So, due to time limitation, I cannot explain all of the function, all of the usage of climate gas, but I'd like to, lastly, I would like to share the tutorial series on climate gas at YouTube. So I'm sorry, I cannot explain all of the function climate gas in this webinar, but if you're interested in the climate gas, and then you have some question and some comment or some suggestion, so please first visit this tutorial course on YouTube, and then please see and watch the YouTube tutorial series, and then and still you have any questions, please contact me. And yes, that's all. But I would like to say that Chromecast is one of the main tool of AP part, and then AP part is the goal of the AP part is to bridge the science and the stakeholder through the providing tool and information and the capacity development. So as I hope that this presentation and the Chromecast is useful for your work and your study. Okay, thank you for your attention. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masatomi, for this wonderful presentation on ClimateCast. So just to remind all the participants that you will get the link to all these presentations at the end as well, so that you can follow as Dr. Masatomi has directed you to the YouTube, links where you can learn further. So with that, I would like to move on to the third presentation of the day, which will be done by Ms. Nen-Le Nguyen of RRCAP. She will talk about introducing S8DS climate downscaling tool. Ms. Nguyen is a program officer of the climate change cluster at AIT RRCAP. Her area of expertise is on water, and she provides technical support to the projects and programs on climate actions. She has expertise in multifunctional wetlands in building green urban resilience. Ms. Nguyen received her MSc in Environmental Engineering and Management from Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand, and she holds a bachelor's degree in pharmacy from University of Pharmacy, Yangon. Nguyen, may I invite you to take the stage now? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramesh, for inviting me. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ms. Nen-Le Nguyen, a Program Officer of Climate Change Cluster at AIT RRCAP. I provide technical support to the projects and programs on climate action. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give a presentation about the introduction of S8DS climate downscaling tools that can assist with effective climate adaptation planning. The S8DS Climate Data Downscaler is commissioned by the Ministry of Environment Japan, MOEJ, since many years ago, and it is developed by the Tsukuba University, Japan. Now, we RRCAP provide front-end user portfolio management to S8DS for more than 3 years. Currently, the S8DS tool is used by various individuals and organizations from all over the world. So what is SADS? It is a kind of web application based on geographical user interface or GUI system that allows people with a limited knowledge of developing climate models. It is a user-friendly platform and you can generate output by just simple click and drag function. It is a dynamical downscaling tool that is pseudo global warming method. So what is climate downscaling? It is a method to provide higher and more detailed climate data from close resolution. It is a kind of interpolation that considers the impacts of terrain and land use on the regional climate, including variation in temperature, precipitation, humidity, and so on. This is the schematic diagram of projection RCN for predicting future regional climate data with spatial resolution varies from 1 to 10 kilometers. With the IPCC RCP scenario, the GCM was created to provide future global climate projection for global planning. They require spatially detailed topography and land use data sets as input data. With the help of regional platforms such as SADS, consider factors contributing to climate variabilities. The RCM was also developed to predict future regional climate variabilities and changes for regional comprehensive planning. So why should we use SADS downscaler? There are many advantages of using SADS tool, such as it can access from any internet browsers. It just only needs a PC and internet. It can access without advanced climate modeling skills, and it keeps the workload to minimum. And it is really available and easily accessible from all over the world. And the multilingual interface, currently there are 3 languages available now, namely English, Thai, and Vietnamese. But in future, other regional climate data languages will be developed up to 8 languages. And the area of application is wide, and it is all applicable to all climate change practitioners, particularly the officials who involved in the national adaptation plan process. And the SADS tool can bridge science-based solutions in various sectors, such as education sector related to climate change, and to implement the effective adaptation planning for local or regional government, and to predict the regional climate and urban planning or zoning for local government, and to support in better decision-making process. And localizing climate data facilitates appropriate planning, such as collaboration with different organizations, empowerment of various stakeholders, and enhance engagement of people in community. These are the basic features of the SADS tool. Like I previously mentioned, this method is pseudo global warming method that is dynamic downscaling. The required baseline data are global climate model, special report on emission scenarios, representative concentration pathway, and couple model intercooperation project, and regional climate model. The resolution can be obtained of 1 to 10 kilometers. And the estimated model stimulation time varies from 3 to 64 hours, depending on the resolution and amount of data input. And the available prediction parameters are temperature, precipitation, wind speed and wind direction, humidity, solar radiation in terms of short wave, and sea level pressure. The SADS tools can consider other additional features such as the impact of anthropogenic activity on future climate, such as land use change and energy use. This is the workflow of SADS. It's just simple. Once the user sends a request through his browser, the SADS will start projection simulation by using the mentioned baseline data. The simulation will take around 3 to 64 hours based on the user request. After the simulation is finished, it responds back and the user will receive the simulation results. This is the simulation example for temperature in Burian province, Thailand. As you can see, the comparison of previous RCM has very close resolution, and it cannot define exactly the temperature of the specific area. But with the SADS, its resolution is quite high and easily identify the temperature of the specific area. So in here, the yellow color represents 2 degrees Celsius. So which means during mid-21st century of RCP 4.5 scenario, the daily maximum temperature is anticipated to be higher than the current temperature in the Burian province and its surrounding areas. This is another simulation example for precipitation in Burian province, Thailand, and the blue color represents minus 4 millimeter. So that means that the overall precipitation will be decreased about 4 millimeter per day from the current year. And it is obvious that there will be more precipitation in the mountainous area than the plain area. So the high mountain ridges at the south of the province retain southwest monsoon rainfall that is influential from the Indian Ocean. And the rainfall reduction can have a negative impact on the rain-fed agricultures, in which 89% of livelihoods rely on. So to conclude it, in mid-21st century of RCP 4.5 scenario, the daily maximum precipitation in Burian province is projected to be lower than the current year in most of the areas. So this is the information for new users. Now we are looking for the new interested user of the SADS tool. So if you are interested to use it, just email to us with a one-page concept, including who you are, what you're working for, what is your purpose of the use of the SADS tool, and your expected outcomes after using it. The user should agree to share the copy of the report or document in which the tool has been used. So once we get your request, we will create a user account and a password and share to you, and you can directly use with the from Get Started, and you can click to the directly link to the this website application. So this is our RRCAP website regarding SADS2, and this is the detailed content of me, and you can email to me if you want to know more about SADS2s. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Win, for that interesting presentation on S8DS. I hope, once again, I would like to remind everyone that you can get hold of all these presentations, all these 3 presentations in the link posted in the chat box. And I would like to thank all 3 presenters at this point for a fantastic sharing of work. And thank you for enhancing our knowledge and know-hows. Could I kindly actually now open the floor for the questions from our audience? You could do it by putting in typing in the Q&A box the questions that you have, and I will be able to send these alongside to the relevant panelists. So if you have a question, just can you enter into the chat box, please. QA function is located at the bottom right corner, and you can see it with a small WhatsApp sort of logo. So I'd like to hear from anyone in the audience. If you have any questions that I could direct to our panelists. Yes, well, at this stage, there is very few questions, and perhaps we could give it a few more minutes, maybe. So there are 3 tools that were presented today, the FloodS, Climocast, and SADS, all developed by to enhance adaptation planning, and in different ways and means. And perhaps I'd once again invite questions from the audience if you have any. Okay, so once again, well, thank you. I found this presentation very useful for me as a student of climate change. I would kindly request a repeat of this presentation for interested students, especially in the climate change and sustainable development program at AIT. Thank you very much. I think we will be able to do that, providing climate change department would like to have us, and we'll take it further with the department professors and faculty involved if they would like to see this sort of development. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for academia purposes and for research purposes, these tools will go a long way, and GIS and remote sensing softwares are providing a lot of service within these fields. So yes, we would very much like to take it further. Thank you, Mamadi, on that. And then maybe know the acceptability of the results of the tools presented or the accuracy of the said tools. So very good question. Thank you, Margarita. Regarding that question, could I invite perhaps all 3 panelists to address this question? So the question is regarding acceptability of the results. So the how much of varying degrees does these results really bring? So the acceptability of these results and the tools. Can I first invite Yamaguchi-san to address the acceptability question here? Sorry, Yamaguchi-san, I think you're on mute.
Oh, now, can I hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can hear you now.
Great. I'm so sorry. So, it's a very important question. Accuracy is very important for flood simulation. And this is an example of validation of flood simulation. I compared actual flood area and flooded area in the simulation. And in this result, we can understand 5-meter resolution result is very correspond with the actual flood area. But it depends on the area or data that you use. If there is a rough data, like 100-meter resolution topography data, the accuracy is like this. So please validate your simulation by comparing this kind of accuracy, this kind of actual data.
Thank you for that, Yamaguchi-san. Could I invite Masatomi-san to address with respect to this question posed, which is...
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that is a very good question. And of course, all data and all tools have more or less limitation and error. So, and then Climate just use the global climate simulation data. So the accuracy of the Climate is the same as the global climate model. And then, as you know well, that a global climate model has large error or large bias or large bias. So, to tell the truth, and of course, Climecast, as I said, Climecast has the same error which global climate model has. But the important thing is the Climecast just provide a difference from compared to the last century. And then the difference is more reliable than the absolute value in the global climate simulation. So I think a Climecast is the accuracy of the Climecast is has the same accuracy of the of the global climate model, but the Climecast just only use a difference compared to the last century. So I think a little better than the using the absolute value in future climate projection data. So that's all. So, but yes, you pointed out that your point is quite good. All data and all tool has error and accuracy, and then users should understand the limitation and accuracy of all tool and data. That's the point.
Thank you very much, Masatomi-san. That's very, very interesting. Win, would you like to answer the question regarding yes, accessibility?
First of all, thank you very much for asking the questions. And the accuracy and accessibility is same as the other global climate model, and their flaws and further improvements are needed in SADS2. But now I can provide only brief supports and explanation to SADS. So therefore, we will contact with the developer regarding these technical questions and in order to satisfy your needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Win. So I guess, Margarita, your question's been answered by all three panelists. I would like to move on to the next question, which is, does SADS tools support vulnerability assessment for infrastructure? May I invite Win to answer that question?
For right now, the SADS tool can used in urban planning, agriculture, health, and disaster and risk management. But then maybe the developer will put in further development on the SADS tool regarding the vulnerability assessment for infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope, Toby, that answers your question. Could I move on to the next question again? For Climocast, so Toby asks once again, does Climocast provide any matrix on precipitation intensity, or is it only total rainfall, example days with less than 50 millimeters? May I invite Masatomi-san to answer that, please?
Yes, total rainfall, monthly total or yearly rainfall only. And then, yeah, of course, the people are interested in this kind of extreme event in rainfall or extreme event in temperature, like over the 50 meter or 35 degrees Celsius. but it is quite difficult to provide such kind of extreme event data. So, but now we are struggling for the providing such extreme event data. So in the future, yes, we hope to include such kind of extreme event data into ClimateCast, but I don't know well. But our team is struggling that effort. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Master Mizan. Yes, so I'd like to invite, if there's any other questions coming from the participants, this is the time to ask. Thank you, Toby, and thank you, Margarita, for the questions that you have asked. And if the floor is now open for maybe another minute or so for one last final questions. Perhaps the silence tells me that there's no questions, so I would like to continue with respect to my closing remarks. So before I close up and wrap up, I would like to take this opportunity again to share that AIT RRCAP has recently developed 2 new e-learning videos. The first one is on increasing coherence in climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction to climate change adaptation. And the second one is resilience building through sustainable waste and resource management. This comes as a contribution to the Asia Pacific Adaptation Information Platform, or AP-PLAT, thanks to the support and collaboration of the Ministry of Environment of Japan and the Institute of Global Environmental Strategies. The videos have been uploaded to AP-PLAT's website and can be found in the links below provided in the chat. So once again, I would like to request you not to forget to fill up the evaluation form, which is posted in the chat box. Presentations will be shared in a Google Drive. This link also has been shared in the chat box as of now a couple of times, and it will be shared once more. So as all good things must come to an end, I'm afraid the time has come for me to say goodbye to you with these closing remarks. GIS and remote sensing data can play a crucial role in adaptation planning. It could provide spatially explicit information that helps decision makers to understand the vulnerabilities and risks associated with climate change and plan effective adaptation strategies. It could be used in risk and vulnerability assessments, land use planning, emergency response planning, community engagement and outreach, as you have been introduced in most of these tools by our experts. We have listened to some very special work with respect to the tools that can contribute to adaptation planning. I would like to thank all the participants who have actively attended this webinar and raised questions. I hope you all gained new knowledge and ideas on climate adaptation tools. I would like to thank the Ministry of Environment Japan for all the support for this webinar. I would like to thank Hitachi and National Institute for Environmental Studies for sharing with us their respective great works and enabling future collaborations. Moreover, I greatly appreciate the participations of our partners and panelists for giving their time from their tight schedules to contribute to this webinar in introducing of climate adaptation tools. And finally, I would like to thank our RRCAP team, Dr. Gilberto, Pinky Win, Julius, Ja, and Bayasa. We at RRCAP, with the support of MOEJ, intend to continue providing climate adaptation tools and activities within the Asia Pacific region. So once again, thank you all, and I bring this webinar to a close. Thank you very much. I will take your leave now. Bye-bye.